So I'm gonna let this rock for a few seconds, but you can probably hear it through my voice, but I just want you to kind of observe what's happening on screen for a moment, just so that you can get a sense of what may be going on. So now that you've seen things visually though, but that should be more than enough time, I'm gonna put this code on screen to kind of just transition into what I want to talk about, and that's primarily going to be what I think is happening, and this isn't just towards it. Yes, I'm using the Cooking Club character, but this could be any character, and I think I've seen this before if I recall. So as I try to get back to the game, and we'll do a reset here just to see if anything else goes wrong, but I wanted to show that at least in Ward you can see this as well. But essentially, for those who don't know what's happening still on screen with that code, you are essentially triggering an event, and that sounds simple enough, but as I actually should just go out and show you the PERM version as well. You're triggering an event. That doesn't sound like much, but if you try to trigger an event in an event or in other places where events cannot normally proc, as if you're getting ready to go into an investigation, then weird things can happen. So that was what happened in Ward, and I'll show you basically what I did to kind of bug test things, just to kind of nearly confirm, because maybe I'm just doing something wrong here and there, and maybe this whole video is going to be a flop, which is going to be, this is going to be a 0.5 video, of course, but essentially, and I did give this character this weapon just to at least have something. Also to correct, this is not the episode that I wanted to talk about it, but just really quickly for 10 seconds. Yes, the damage was affected in the last episode by random item stats. So the criticism was still valid, but it only would pertain to a random item stat run. Otherwise, 3 damage base is pretty good. But just to move on here, because what's going to happen this time is the game is actually going to crash. If I were to show you, I could probably do it in Flood too. You know what, we'll do Flood right after, but we have to reroll Mysteries. Actually, I should have just done Flood. If we see Flood again, we'll just take it. But Recluse, which was what happened in the previous episode, was the place where it crashed. But I'll explain why at least I think it happened in a moment, if I can get to Recluse, because it's not appearing. So here's Recluse. So what's happening here is that, again, this is not towards any specific piece of code, PERM, or even base World of Horror. All I can tell you is that, I mean, I'm showing it to you right now, that it works the way it does. And what I think is actually happening is that it's trying to proc an event, or if you try to force an event in a place where it can't really do it, then you'll run into crashes or bugs, basically is all I'm trying to say. I'm sure there's a band-aid fix, but I just wanted to get this little, I guess, observation of a video out now, just to at least kind of show other people as well, especially for those who are making their own events, whether it's the person who made this character, whether it's people who are making custom content right now, or making characters with linked events. You need to be careful, especially if you use PERM, to force where you're forcing events. So if I were to check behind the bed, waste another day, and I think at this point, so I need to actually be using this every time we're free. So if I do it here, we should have turns left. Okay, never mind. So we had 0 turns left there. That's what happened. And so what happened now is that basically when you can enter the venue for this Cooking Comp schedule event is when you go through the, well, events I've shown you in past episodes. However, if you're in a place like Recluse, you'll get this little flash where it doesn't look like anything happened. If you go back to the last episode, which I think was episode 22, you'll see this happen as well. It kind of flashed on screen, and then it tried to force the event. And so that's why when I do it a second time, the game the code basically says that the event has ended. I could have shown that part too, but it's mainly just variables being flipped and toggled to show that, hey, you've gone through this and you can only do it once per mystery, which is the intent here. But the most important part is if I hit waste another day, the game will crash. So yep, here's the crash. I'll show it to you on screen, and hey, it looks pretty familiar. You don't want to know why? It's because it's what I ran into in the previous episode. So, yeah, this is exactly what's happening here. Now, it might not be what is exactly happening, but conceptually, basically, this crash came from trying to operate 2 events at once, because I'm pretty sure, so in what I showed you at the very beginning of the video was essentially 2 events or enemies occurring at once, and I feel like if I didn't mention this earlier, I'll put up World of Horror again because we'll go through the thing, but we will do a thing. Oh goodness, hell no, my sound. But I feel like it's happened to me before. Maybe I can go through my... sorry, if you want to go through my channel and comb through it, I mean, all I can say is I feel like I've gone through this before, and I don't recall the exact moment because I can't remember things, so even trying to remember that much would be too much. But basically, yes, you'll get events and enemies happening twice at once. I remember this because specifically what happened was that I was in an enemy encounter, and suddenly I was pulled out of the enemy encounter, and weird things happen. So we'll do this once more in Flood. I could show you in Ward 2, but essentially that's all you need to know. I went into when I tried to end Ward, as you saw at the beginning of the video, I went into the boss encounter, but then I was brought back outside of Ward. And then I went through that second event that was happening at once, and then went back into the boss fight for a second time, which is why you hear the BGM twice, which is why when I probably click on screen, oddly, basically events are overlapping. At this point, you might be wondering, well, Jordan, isn't that just a base World of Horror issue? Technically, yeah, or it could be literal, but essentially, again, it causes bugs. So if nothing else, the bottom line here is to watch where you're forcing events if you are triggering events. Normally, this is handled by base World of Horror stuff, but if you're using PERM, which can force events in other situations, like when you use an item, when you use an ally's effect, if you were to go into another event and trigger an event even, maybe, then weird things may happen, and in this particular instance, it's when you're in mysteries where you are stuck in locations like I am right now. Actually, I should have used the cooking comp schedule here. That way we can go through the process of basically having the competition come, and we'll see what happens in Flood. Because for all we know, Flood could just be normal. You might have, if you've been with this channel for, you know, at least the past 12 episodes, most likely, you've probably seen the bug that is Ward not triggering investigations properly, which sounds odd, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then I might have not have mentioned it at some point. But essentially, again, mysteries like Flood, mysteries like Recluse, Ward will trigger things differently because you are not in the normal town screen like you are in mysteries like Ramen, School. I should have probably tried this in Scissors too, but town mysteries, which are things like bulletin footage when you're in town, of course. When you're in the forest phase, I wonder how it actually functions, but again, those are things to wonder about afterwards. So we have 2 turns left. I don't think we have 2 turns left, so I should have used this earlier. If not, we'll spend a little longer here. Never mind. And yeah, off we go. Although I might as well test this out right here, so I'm going to try to use this in the middle of this. Nope. And we're going to reset this run really quickly just so we can get to Recluse again. Unless it's very hard or if not impossible to do that event in Recluse. But I don't feel like it is. So, let's try that again. I could try out Scissors, but Scissors only has 5 investigations, though it would be interesting to see. I don't think it's possible, though. You know what? Let's do Flood first. Let's go in order. Let's not get sidetracked for a moment. Now again, depending on if the game wants to give us Flood, this is a stream-like video, so I'm not going to be cutting. Oh, there it was, by the way. I just skipped through it because it's a picture of it looks like Akamanto and it looks like footage, but it's actually a mix of both. Or is it Festival? I think it's Festival. Yeah, Festival icon. So yeah, you get a mask and you get a river. So if I use it here, does it work? Again, these usually assume that you're in town, but obviously we're not in the normal town area. So what ends up happening is forcing events to trigger here for some reason goes wonky. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'll go into it more now because we might as well talk about it. There is probably a band-aid fix to this if it's not just a total rehaul of the event, but you could probably, because in this specific instance, it is checking variables, and it says, hey, once all the variables are set to what the creator wants to trigger the event from, trigger the event. But obviously, again, as you can see, it's been bugged here and there. I think it's going to take a while longer. Let's see, because we're in... Ward definitely has more than enough. So 2 turns left. Yeah, I should be able to go through 2 turns of investigations here. So these still count as investigations, obviously, but I just need to keep using this just to see. Okay, maybe it doesn't. That school door opening does not count. Interesting. Because the turn counter did not change, so only the forest and village investigations and Recluse count. Again, those who are familiar with the perm or just custom content in general, and then you saw here that it flashed again. So theoretically speaking, I'm in an event right now, but I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. But although the game did crash again, I'll show you the error code on screen. But if the thing would like to show the correct error code because it does not want to show it to me, then yeah. And if for no other reason than if for anyone who knows the code, you can look at it. But if we are to let's restart the game and try out scissors as our last test, and then that'll be it. There should be another video coming after this, but I don't know when, because I don't know when this video in particular is going to make it up. I do know that it's a 0.5 episode though, because again, I just wanted to go over the bugs. So I should have also mentioned that there would be timestamps, but I didn't. So whoopsie doopsie. And one last time, this is not specific to this creator or their character and whatnot, because this can apply. I've tested this beforehand, but if you end up where did the knife go? If you try to force an event in one of those mysteries, you'll get pretty much the same bug or crashes that I ran into. And if you don't believe me, you can try it yourself. Make a custom item in Perm, primarily a custom item, but I think you can do other things as well. Yeah, and just try it out in Recluse or Ward, and then just try to force an event. You'll get what I ran into. So we're looking for Ward here really quickly. It has a very obvious icon that it shares with Coma. So we're looking for a cross on the board so I can check that's Ward, and let's go. Where did the knife go? Anywho. Wait, oh, wait a second. What? Now I can't even click it. Did I change the name or something? No, I did not. That's interesting. Unless I opened the wrong one. I opened the wrong World of Horror. That's interesting. I hit abort and okay. So I actually opened. So I do have 2 instances of World of Horror. Again, timestamps exist in case you just want to skip forward. But 2 instances of World of Horror. One does not have Perm installed, so it's pretty much the vanilla based World of Horror. And the other one, if I had checked there, I probably would have noticed. Is Perm 1.36. I guess that is good to at least showcase for those who don't know what happens if you try to use Perm specific things. Yeah, they just disappear like that. But we can finally actually test this out, and off we go. But yeah, if you don't believe me, test it out yourself. Do something that forces an event and try to go through the same steps. If you get something different, feel free to let me know, because the more we learn, right? So, but yeah. Oh, there was Ward, by the way. I skipped past it. How many mysteries on World of Horror? I was going to say 18, but I don't think that's the right number, because I am guessing that's Coma, by the way. I can tell immediately. Ward has this piece of paper. Coma just has the red cross on the bottom. So, I mean, they're both on the bottom, but you get what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, let's do this one more time and move on. But yeah, even just something as vanilla as just forcing an event, like I showed you at the very beginning of the video, it causes this specific bug or crash in the case of Recluse and Flood to work. I was trying to, yeah, I forgot the name for a moment. So, but yeah, we'll keep looking at this, and I'll show you how it goes. If it doesn't, then again, I think these ward investigations don't. I thought they did count though. Yeah, because I think the way that this specific, well, this is coded as a curse, but this specific effect works is that it's pseudo random in its incrementation, but I guess I don't know that for sure. Never mind. This is just me theory crafting, even though I could just look at the code and see. So yeah, one more investigation, and then we'll be able to, I'm doing air quotes in real life, enter the cooking club. I use air quotes here because we're not going to actually be able to enter, but that's what should happen. So we get the blue thing. We trigger an event. We trigger another event because, yeah, as you can see, I kind of clicked on screen, and you'll notice the game is thinking that I'm clicking decisions here and there. And yeah, we're running into double versions of events. I think we actually have 2 instances of World of... Yeah, so I'm clicking everywhere. Oh, I'm suddenly reaching an investigation. That's weird. What? I hear an enemy fighting, but we're entering the hospital now. Oh no, the multiverse! But you can, yeah, apparently you can still, yeah, so I can still go through the combat as if I am in combat, but I'm trying to actually escape if I can do it so, but obviously this is very bugged right now. So, I wonder what actually happens to specifically cause this. So I wonder if it tries to force an event. No, I am going through, I'm going through the event. So the event is actually happening as intended in the background. So I'm probably fighting something related to this character's cooking competition. I probably went like hunting or something and I'm fighting the long pig. But as you can see on screen, we're actually... Oh no, we're fighting the forgotten patient. Never mind. Okay, I don't know what's happening. So we actually have our friend. We're actually attacking the friend, even though we're trying to run from this forgotten patient. But... yeah, it's really strange. So, without further ado, not really much else to this video. I won't even add an end screen because this is a 0.5 fun video. And as you can see here, for this Forgotten Patient fight, we're not actually able to queue up any attacks and attack it. But we are attacking something in the background, which is interesting to note because I just want to see what happens if I end up... yeah, if I end up either winning or losing in this encounter. In fact, we're even going to just go crazy and just try to use things here and there. So if I throw an item, the Forgotten Patient gets hit. Yeah, this is really, really funky right now. So we'll just keep trying to attack, question mark? We're going to quote-unquote die here. But if I get brought out to the screen, does this clear the game? Okay, that does clear the game, interestingly enough. Unless it doesn't. But yeah, without further ado, not really much else to say. If you have anything to say, any questions to ask, feel free to let me know. If you want to correct me because maybe you tried this out yourself and you're like, Jordan, maybe you're just working with a bugged version, or you mistranslated the Cooking Club character, or you told me to try out forcing an event and it doesn't work the way you intended, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching and I'll see you later. Bye!